I wanted to speak about the meaning of Livyoson and Shor Habor and Yain HaMeshumar. The Rebbe in the last years, Kachzach Chalat, in the Pituyim and the expressions the Rebbe said we're sitting together with Moshiach by the Livyoson, Shor Habor, Yain HaMeshumar. The Rebbe spoke a lot about it. He mentioned it a lot. He also mentioned if you only open up your eyes, we'll see you're sitting with with Eibusha together with the Livyoson and Shor Habor. There's many different biurim, remozim, and yonim that are associated to Shor Habor and Livyoson. Just to start with the basics, there's a few gemaras that are put together to explain the different aspects that are going to take place by this Suda. There's a Gemara in Pesachim that says that the Pasuk says that Avraham made a great feast in the day that he gamel could either mean the day that he was weaned, that he stopped nursing, the day he got his bris, or different biurim. The Gemara says the Eibusher will make a great Suda at the time that the Eibusher will finally save the Yidden. He's going to make a great Suda. And then, when it's going to come the time to bench, the Eibusher is going to say to Avram, you bench. Avram will say, I can't bench. Why can't I bench? Because Ishmael came out of me. He's going to give the Berchet to Yitzchak. Yitzchak will say, I can't bench. Esau came out of me. He'll give it to Yaakov, say, I can't bench because I married two sisters, which later the Torah is going to say it's no good. He married Leah and Rachel. The Moshe Rabbeinu who says he won't bench because he didn't bring the Eretz Yisrael. Yeshua won't bench, he didn't leave over his son to inherit him. And upon him, finally they're going to give the Berchet to David HaMelech. David HaMelech will say, Ani avarech v'li no alavarech. I will bless, and to me it's appropriate to bless. Like it says, Kois Yeshua Yisesa. I think, if you remember correctly, the Pasuk says, David HaMelech says, I lift up a cup of salvation, in the name of Hashem I call out. So in this, there's many aspects in the Gemara which I'm not going to, probably won't get to today, but just in this Gemara we see the concept David will make a big feast when Moshiach will come. There's other Midrashim and Gemaras that speak about this feast and they focus on the Livyoson and the Shor Habor. The Livyoson, Rashi says, we learned in Pashas Bereishis, it says, V'yivra L'kim es Taninim HaGedolim, David created the big fish. So it says that goes on Livyoson Bazugay. There was a male and female Livyoson. The Eibusher saw that if they're going to have children, they're going to be such huge creatures that will destroy the world. So the Eibusher killed the female and he kept it for tzaddikim wasad lovely. And there's also the Shor Habor, the Gemara in Bava Basra speaks about the Shor Habor. There it also says was a male and a female. The female wasn't killed, they just took away the ability to have children. And it's going to be used for the Suda when Moshiach will come. There's the Pashtus, the Livyoson and Shor Habor, there's Psukim and Iyov, in the book of Iyov, which probably not one of the things people sit and learn in yeshiva. But there is in the capital in Mem and Malach somewhere.
We learned it. We learned it. Yeah, we learned it.
Viele Krebet gewollt man zu lernen nach.
In Bobbe Basel bringt er das an. Ganz Eve. Ganz Eve. And Eve, Mishle in Eve, the Pini Coffee.
So, in Eve, I think in capital Mem and Malach and somewhere further, give it a few program, take away a few program. It speaks there about the Eibusher speaking to Eov, like Eov was having kindness, how come you're suffering so much? The Eibusher is basically telling him, if you want to run the world, do you have any idea of, are you able to compare with Eibusher? And he speaks there about the might of the Livyoson and Shor Habor. It says they're psukim, how they're huge creatures, and, and the amount of them, the Gemara says different in Yonim, about the Livyoson and Shor Habor. Now, there's, in general, when it comes to Agada, there is always two schools of thought. There's that school of thought which interprets things kipshutam, literally. Then you have the school of thought that tries to explain things in a homiletic, more than a remez. So when it comes to Inyanim of Livyoson and Shor Habor or anything, so there are those midrashim, there are those meforshim that explain it on a remez, but biyachadim zeh, there are those that explain it kipshutai.
Kipshutai?
Huh?
Kipshutai? Was the Livyoson that they killed the Livyoson was?
Was from the Rebbe, yeah. Pshuti begash is Fran Azamin Behema was heißt der Shor Habor. Van Azamin Fish was heißt der Livyoson. When Rashi sagt es Tanin, when Rashi says it's Taninim HaGedolim, Zel Livyoson and Bazuka, what does he mean? He means that it's a Remes.
But it's not a Remes, but it's somewhere Chves was.
I don't know where it is, but it exists.
No, but it's not, yeah, but it's not.
It's not Bilam Azagashmi.
It is, Chves Dilang has I don't know where it is. I don't know where it is.
I don't either.
No, but it's.
Well, you know where Zelo Mazek, sorry to say.
You know with the Rashba, I mean, I spoke about it. The Rashba in Bavastre, the Rashba wrote a whole that the God of cotton.
Yeah.
But that the vice of Baverov is of cotton and the God, huh?
Yeah.
Is was recovered from the mother was so the Rashi writes over there to the kids of these certain kids that they want to go away learn saying this, and they say to him, look, the Taylor Gemara says it's double cotton, and he's mad with them that the whole marshal and what even double cotton, you know. But this, you get the idea. It's not.
It's not what.
It's the Dvarim daily. These high things are not
taking kipshutan. Yeah, I'm saying. Listen, there's certain Gemara. I'll put it like this. I'll make one call gadol. But there's certain Gemaras that it's kamat impossible to take it kipshutan. You have certain. Mostly you have mice and gittin, the sugis of Churban. Yeah, at Abra Bochana you have the sugis of gittin where you have that the Shishim Ribe Ayoris, that the Ganei Malach had 600,000 cities, each one had 600,000 people. It comes out to about 360 billion or something people. 36, whatever it is.
Possible could throw that sea.
Right, and the whole civilization today is 7.5 billion. So, everyone there more or less says that to them that it's the number 60, whatever. I don't know what's 600,000 times 600,000. Not sure. It ends up to be a number of billions. So they say that it's a remes. It's 60 just means a lot. It's number 60. On the other hand, there's certain gemaras that there you could learn the kipshutai. So you have those people, you have those mefarshim that they always try to learn everything al derech haremes, but Misad Hasheni, the one of Hashem said, true, there's deep seidas hidden here, but it doesn't take away that you could explain the kipshutam. Und ich will das a besondere Suche. When das ganze
not as I perceive it, that's a pshat. It's the real meaning is in Ruchnish.
So now, when it comes to Livyoson and Shor Habor, I'll tell you, there's a Sikh of the Rebbe and Tavshin and Beis. I think it's Vayigash, if I'm not mistaken. It's not in the Muga the Sikh, it's the Bilti Muga. The Rebbe said that when Moshiach will come, the Rebbe said discusses the Sud Livyoson and Shor Habor says, it's also explained in Beruchni, it's also explained in Begashmis. So the Rebbe says Sud Livyoson and Shor Habor is Begashmis. The Rebbe added the Moededik voice that when Moshiach will come, we will the Ikar is Gashmis because Atzmus is in Gashmis. The Rebbe said we'll see how all the Ruchnistic Pirushim of the Livyoson and Shor Habor draw their chayis from the way the Livyoson and Shor Habor are Begashmis. That was Lashon the Rebbe negated the Sud Livyoson and Shor Habor. Mamish negated this thing. So but Pashas is ungenommen. There's plenty of that. There is such a creature. When the Shor Habor you have, it says in certain places that it eats 1,000 mountains of food every day. So if that prat, where do we have these 1,000 mountains?
Where it is.
Whatever it is, if that is Bruch, this Begashis, whatever it might be. But Pel Mamish, some people interpreted the Livyoson to be a whale, the Shor Habor to be a buffalo, but it doesn't, something came
Livyoson you could easily explain, I'm sorry, let's divide it in two and two. It says Hashem killed the Livyoson. The Nekeva.
Yeah.
The Zohar died, maybe.
No, the Zohar is going to be alive because there's going to be a fight between the Livyoson and Shor Habor.
And the fin, he's going to take the fin, and if some people...
he has to be alive.
Pshuta shel Mikro in Rashi, about the Livyoson that Hashem killed the Nekeva and Molchi lost it love.
The Nekeva Molchi.
That Pshuta shel Mikro is easier to understand.
Good, ich will nicht reingehen in them. That B'chal is not the point of the shir.
Okay.
So now, I want to discuss again the Pashas, Livyoson and Shor Habor are physical. There's a certain places there's more protein. There's a fish called the Zis Sodai also. there's more pratim. Everybody here knows Livyoson and Shor Habor. There's other pratim discussed in other places as well. There's in the Ramami Panu, he has a whole arichas about the Suda. The Moiridik thing, he says that the Eibusha will bring out the Mon. Moiridik things he says about the Suda. The whole arichas he has. And it berichun l'sharayim in the ganze Mai. So I wanted to focus on Livyoson and Shor Habor. So it says like this. Now, Livyoson and Shor Habor is very important to understand, particularly when you're talking about the deeper meaning of it, that there's really two aspects. When we hear about Livyoson and Shor Habor, there's two main points over here which should not be mixed together. There's the kanegia, however you say it. The Medrash says that there's going to be a fight between the Livyoson and Shor Habor when Moshiach will come. And it says whoever doesn't go to see the sport of Yisraelim, they used to sport with the animals and thus. How the Romans they had human beings also against beasts. They had beasts against beasts. So whoever doesn't participate in that will be zoichet to see this great sport, this great show that will be of the Livyoson and Shor Habor. How the Livyoson is going to shech the Shor Habor with its fins, and the Shor Habor is going to use its horns to break apart the Livyoson. It actually is even brought on in Halach. You look in Hilchas Shabbos and Siman Shin Zayin, it speaks there about hunting on Shabbos, killing animals, and it mentions there about hunting through dogs. In the Hilchas Shabbos, and it says that even during the weekdays you shouldn't do it because of Moshiach Leitzim. If somebody does it, he won't be zoichet to see Simchas Livyoson. What does Simchas Livyoson there mean?
Alter brings it.
Alter brings it in Siman Shin Zayin. Simchas Livyoson doesn't mean the Sudas Livyoson, the meal of the feast of Livyoson. Simchas Livyoson means the show. Then the next Medrash continues and says,
front row, second.
Then the Medrash continues and says that the Eibishter is going to make a great feast. And there you have the whole thing, the whole separate discussion. The Medrash asks, how's the Shechita of the kosher Shechita? Because the fins have pigimim, or the knife, when you shech the behemoth, the knife has to be smooth. The fin of the fish has, it's like a sword. The whole thing, the Eibishter is a Chiddush Torah, the Eibishter will say it's kosher.
The same Eibishter, there is Mazdas clearly.
I don't want to get into it, I'm just saying it's connected. But then it says that the Medrash continues, that the Eibishter is going to make a feast for the Tzadikim Lasad Lavoi, from the Livyoson and whoever, the Shor Habor, and whoever didn't, he doesn't say from Livyoson and Shor Habor, based on other sources it comes out from Livyoson and Shor Habor, and whoever didn't eat treifa foods in this world, he doesn't eat nevelos, it says there, will merit to participate in this Suda. So this is another, here you have in this Medrash, it lays out that there's two parts here. There's the show of the Livyoson and Shor Habor, and there's the feast. The reason why I'm mentioning this because in Chassidus, this is my Maimorim, L'Likutei Torah Parsha Shmini, which is basically discusses this Medrash, and other Maimorim, they discuss a lot the show. What's the meaning of this fight that will take place in Livyoson and Shor Habor? The Suda of Livyoson and Shor Habor comes later, as a second inning, which I want to focus on a little bit today. So this is one of the Medrashim, which are the main sources for the Suda of Livyoson and Shor Habor. You also have a Gemara in Bava Basra. Stafayin Dain Hey Summers over there, the Gemara speaks about it, and it also says about the Livyoson that they should to be a meal for it, and it speaks there about that will be the skin of the Livyoson will shine, and based on how much a person deserves, whether he'll get just a small piece or become a necklace or a bigger piece, whatever it might be. And then you have also, everybody heard them sure, the Yain HaMeshumar, that is, it says that Gemara and Brachas, that when Moshiach will come, we'll drink the Yain HaMeshumar Ba'anavach, the wine that was kept in his grapes from the 6 days of creation. And as again, it's different midrashim, they're all put together. This Yain HaMeshumar will be served by the Suda of Livyoson. Now, first of all, what is the meaning of this Suda? So there is in Pshat, it's going to be a meal, the Suda. What is the purpose of it is already a matter, there's all discussions here. So, I'll start off, Bruch Nisyan and Begashmi, it's a bit hard to, there's a few Pirushim here. Beruchnis in Yonam, there's many explanations here.
It's easier to understand Beruchnis.
Yeah.
Goshma is a little too hard.
There's a Rambam in Hilchos Tshuva. The Rambam discusses Gan Eden. And the Rambam writes, speaks about Gan Eden, he says there's many names we find for Gan Eden. In the Psukim, we have Chatzris Hashem, Beich Veis, Har Hashem. And the Rambam writes, Psaloshin, that the Chachamim called this good, the good that's this future good that's hidden from the Tzaddikim, from Moshiach to come, they called it in a way of a mushroom with the name Su'uda, a feast.
Where's the Rambam?
This Rambam, Nuchas Shuva Perichas. You can bring it,
Yeah. I don't remember.
The Rambam writes that the Chachamim call it B'Shem Suda. It seems, I'm just saying, even though, that the Rambam is learning that this Suda that's spoken about that will happen is a spiritual Suda which refers to the gloom of Gan Eden. Just like physically a meal that you have is a Geshmak meal which you physically you enjoy. So the spiritual enjoyment of Gan Eden is also compared to a meal, a spiritual meal that you eat and you drink. There's a famous Hasagas Harayvad on the Rambam. He says that if the way the Rambam learns is right, ain't kan koshel bracha. You don't have koshel bracha. You can spend the whole shir on this Rambam and Harayvad, which is very interesting. But anyway, but Pashas, how the people learn? They learn that the Medrash says that after they, like I mentioned before, not the Gemara said that after they eat and drink, so they're going to give the Koshel Bracha. Avrom will want a bench. Yitzchak want the Malach will bench. So, but Pashas, it sounds like the Rayvad is saying that if the meal is a spiritual meal, what's the benching going on? The emphasis that there's a Sovnus Penech, Moedek Kedoget on this on the hill on Hilchos Tshuva over here. There's a whole. He says takes this whole Rayvad and I'm on a whole different level. But I don't want to get into that. But the Rambam, I'm just bringing this out to highlight the idea of a suit of a meal in a spiritual sense means the same way physically when you eat, there's physical celebration, physical delight, physical nutrition. So spiritually also the nutrition, the delight of the soul is called a meal. Now, so the suit of Livyoson and Habor is a spiritual, if you understand the Bruchnis is a spiritual delight of sorts, so what different levels are called Livyoson and Habor. Now over here there's an interesting, the son of the Rambam, Rav Avram ben Rambam, wrote a sefer called Muhammad Hashem, and he writes there. It's not such a long sefer, but he focuses it a lot in Sudas Livyoson. He was writing against people that they were upset at the Rambam. That the Rambam explained things, not literally, like the Rambam didn't. So he writes there, he speaks about the Sudas, says that for this person, he's looking forward his whole life. What he's looking for his good roasted piece of meat, fish and meat. I'm just rephrasing it, not to him. If someone's chas v'shalom going to say that the Suda should make it pshuta, he's not literally going to have his steak and his piece of fish, so it will take away his whole his whole purpose in life.
What you live for.
Gott hat ja gesagt, ich will euch mein Stück Livyoson, aber anyway, but what the Rav Avram and the Rambam writes, he says, I'm going to...
I used to say always, as a kid, if after 120 of 20, he finds that this whole thing was, he'll never forgive the Eibishter, so never let him go eat in McDonald's. He'll never forgive him for that.
No. Yeah, no, so Avram ben Rambam is...
So Avram ben Rambam, he says, I'll explain, he says, for this guy, he said, listen, because I don't want to take away his, for him this is what life is all, Moshiach is all about, but let me explain to you a little bit what the deeper meaning, he says there's nothing wrong if you learn it, it's also Gepshutah, but he says, Chachamim understand that the Ikar is not the, there's a deeper meaning of it. So he says, I'll explain you a little bit, he says, Dinyan of Achila, he gives a very interesting explanation. There's really two aspects here, if you think about it. Dinyan of Achila, what means Achila? Achila means eating. Achila could also come from brings it says by the Akedah. We say every day in the Akedah. Vayikach hasam machelas. The knife that Avraham took the Akedah is called machelas. Why is it called the machelas? So Rashi writes, forget whatever, but the point is he says that it destroys, it kiloim, it comes from the word, it kills the animal. He said like this, he says the Livyoson represents the Yetzer Hara. That's the way he explains it. There's different biurim in the Livyoson, and from one extreme to the other extreme. Some places in Chassidus Livyoson is the Tzahai Sadikim. There's other biurim, even up in Chassidus, you have certain klippos are called Livyoson also. Deepest klippos, Pari is called Livyoson Nokosh Briach. Whatever, but the Livyoson, I don't want to, I just want people just to get back to them, but don't get taken aback.
Okay, so he gives so
he says the Achilas Livyoson means that there's eating up, in other words, getting rid of the Yetzer Hara. And he explains, he said, why the Yetzer Hara is called Livyoson, he doesn't explain so much. I think he says because Livyoson comes from the word like Levi. Levi means escort. Apam you love Ishi Elai. It says the Yetzer Hara is always escorting the person. The second he's born, the Yetzer Hara is with him. This is Aveda. So he says that when Moshiach will come and the whole world will be filled with the knowledge of Hashem, so and everybody said Abishu will spread a spirit of prophecy over everyone. He says, obviously, in order for that to happen, the Yetzer Hara has to be taken away. Because how's it Shayach? We say even a Navi could only have Nevuah if he controls his Yetzer Hara. So Moshiach will come and be such a knowledge, everyone will be prophets. Obviously, the Yetzer Hara has to be taken away. So as the eating of the Livyoson is a hint, the shechting of the Livyoson or the Achilas Livyoson is a hint for the killing of the Yetzer Hara. So that's Mitzad Hasheni. He also says Livyoson comes from the word Livyas Chen, that beauty that escorts a person. In other words, I think it seems to also be saying, or if he doesn't say it, other people say, eating of the Livyoson represents secrets that will be joined to us, will escort us, will become part of us, and Moshiach will come. That's the way that Avraham and Rambam explains the Achilas of Yosef. I have to almost finish already, but I'll just that's again more of a pshat ruchnistic way of understanding it. There's another way of understanding the Achilas of Yosef and Shor Habor, which this is why I wanted Den Yaakov. Look at Den Yaakov of Basra in Dal Dayin Hey. He brings down from the Rashba, the Agodas of the Rashba. He goes the whole Arichas on this. He said like this, but just in one Nakuda that he explains, he says there's certain foods that a person eats. The person's intellect and his capability of understanding and comprehending and feeling depends to a certain degree on what people eat. Avla Moshel, in Chassidus and other places, it's explained that eating edel foods, if a person eats more refined foods, it makes him more refined. He's able to think more refined sichlim. So he says like this, he says that the same way the mon, it says, Torah was given those that ate the mon. The mon, Chassidus explained, was brought on an earlier Svarim, was a spiritual light. Really, the mon was a spiritual type of food, really. It had every taste you wanted it to have. It was all the miracles that happened with the mon. If you took too little, it did whatever. So, the mon was a spiritual food that became, so to say, physically able to eat it, but in its source was a spiritual light that was brought down this physical world. So when you ate it, it opened up your mind and your heart to be able to understand Torah. So he says it could be the same way even the Gashmis. You have certain things, certain grasses, certain roots that people eat have different schools. Something helps you. He says it could be Livyoson and Shor Habor. Could be that they have a certain pasha. The eating of it will open up our hearts and the minds and prepare us for the understanding, for the Giluim that will happen when Moshiach will come. That's the Nakuda. He goes into a whole arichas which I didn't get a chance to go through today. But he explains the same way even B'chlal, eating B'chlal of Su'uda, if it's done properly, gives you a certain, brings you a certain simcha. And simcha is a prerequisite for understanding Seichel. Like you have the Levim, the Nevi'im, they used to have musical instruments. He goes through the whole thing, how a meal, and the whole thing, it's really just the hachana, the delight of the meal and the foods of the meal, our preparation to be able to grasp the secrets that will be when Moshiach will come. That is a one beard in the Livyoson Shor Habor. There's just one more nekuda that I just want to say. Al derech what Rabbi Avram and Rambam said. But the Ragged Shavar also has in his drush, he has about the Livyoson also, and he brings an interesting thing. He says there's a Gemara that asks if you're allowed to write Sifrei Torah, Tefillin, whatever, on the skin of a fish. So the Gemara says when Eliyahu Hanavi will come, he'll tell us if it's permissible or not. Pasha's the question is if the Gashmi, the skin of a fish, is good enough to write. So he goes through a whole thing, he explains, he brings a Gemara, a dog, it's a Gemara about the Livyoson, I think. A dog and pretty fish are more, they're not so modest, they have more of a Yetzer Hara. And he goes through a whole thing, he says that the skin of the fish, the question whether you've got a lot of right tefillin on the skin of a fish means if the Yetzer Hara tefillin, we know Chassidus explains as the Shiva Halev HaMoyach, he explains it in his, you're connecting your heart and your mind to Hashem. If the Yetzer, this is the Ragged Shavar. So he says the whole thing. He says when Eliyahu Hanavi will come, means Moshiach will come. Eliyahu Hanavi will tell us that through all the suffering in Golus, the Yetzer Hara was refined. That now you're able to write even on the skin of the fish, which he connects with the Livyoson, which represents the Yetzer Hara, will be able to use the skin of the Livyoson, which now is the klipa, to write tefillin on it, to connect yourself to Hashem. So he goes through the whole thing of explaining how the eating of the Livyoson represents the transformation of the Moshiach will come, the transformation of the Yetzer Hara to Kedusha. In other words, the Livyoson represents the Yetzer Hara. The shechting and eating it represents the transformation of the Yetzer Hara to Kedusha. And I'll just finish off. This goes back to the beginning of the thing that I mentioned, the Shaykhus of David HaMelech to the Sutta. David HaMelech says, Ani avarech lina alavarech. I'm going to bench. Mepharshim asks the Shal, Avram didn't bench because of Yishmael. Yitzchak didn't bench because of Eitzav. Yaakov didn't bench because the Torah will later forbid Leah and Rachel. Think about when David HaMelech all of a sudden pops up and says, I'm going to bench. I'm pure. Hold on, what about Bashava, whatever it is? So the answer is a very geschmack of word, because David HaMelech was Mechadash Nin of Tshuva. It says that David HaMelech Heikem Oil Shel Tshuva. He was the one that brought about this world in of Tshuva. So the whole idea of this Sutta is the idea of the transformation of the negative things of the Yetzer Hara to Kedusha. The Livyoson and Habor represent how the negative forces are being now, transformed to Kedusha. So this Sutta, David HaMelech says, Ani avarech lina avarech. Yes, I'm talking the one to bench, because I'm the one that brought about even of tshuva, which was the transformation of the. He goes through the Yain HaMeshum Banov. He says the Eitz Hadas, according to one opinion, was wine. So the Yain HaMeshum is from the Eitz Hadas. It seems he's saying it's a transformation of the Eitz Hadas. Another one.
Also in of tshuva.
Yeah, also the of tshuva. Take it from Yad Mamish.